I would have that job. I've done that kind of work before. I thought I was a shoo-in. The guy told me 70 people had just been laid off from the Ojai Valley Inn. And they said, next thing they said, we have no opening. I was for 4 hours, I'd go all the way across town, make something, come back at a low wage, and I can't even get that job. I was like, I cannot believe this. Somebody told me that the Ojai Valley Inn nationally had one of the highest layoff rates in the entire country percentage-wise. Apparently, I've heard that we are dependent, huge percentage, I'm sorry for people who are really pro-Ojai Valley Inn, but a huge percentage of people, of our income in Ojai is dependent on the bed tax from the Ojai Valley Inn, so we feel beholden to the Ojai Valley Inn. I've also heard, I'm going to get really knocked for this, but they do not treat their employees well. I've heard many complaints about people who are not treated well, who are not getting good incomes. Why are we bowing at the feet, excuse me, I'm just overreacting a little bit, to the Ojai Valley Inn? I have worked at various businesses who there is not as much business from the Ojai Valley Inn and from the tourist industry to support their businesses. They're hurting. Some people are not meeting their expenses, their businesses. So, you know, well, this is, in the past. Right. So anyway, what I'm saying is we need to rethink things very differently. And I think we need to look at bartering. We need to look at converting some of our. I want to
I'm just asking for a question.
Okay, my question is, we need to find some other options. We have to think outside of what we've done. Bartering, converting our businesses into live workspaces, or having our own community bank, for God's sake. Something other. People working together, sharing experiences instead of money and goods all the time. What do you have that's outside the box that will help? First of all, since I'm in that bracket, very low-income people are struggling like anything and can't make ends meet and can't get work. And number two, even the middle-class people and even professional people who are feeling the pinch. Okay, at least three solutions from each of you that are outside the box, please.
So I heard in there the Ojai Valley Inn and the fact that they keep all of their income streams within the resort now rather than coming out to there. That's causing trouble. And so go ahead, take it.
Thanks. There's a couple of serious points worth thinking about and talking about there. One is the reality, and I don't know that as a member of the city council I can do much about it. We're in a recession. You know, President Obama keeps saying we're coming out of it, and if you look at some numbers we are and some numbers we're not. But it's not just Ojai, and Ojai is, let me finish. Ojai is the littlest tail being wagged by this giant dog of an economy. So I'm not sure how much we can do to help on the micro level that your question is directed towards. On the other hand, thinking outside the box in a whole variety of areas is, yes, there's going to be a shift. We're going to run out of oil. We are serious trouble with water. Traffic is at the breaking point. And we do need to do things differently. One example, Linda and I were talking yesterday, we were driving around someplace down in Ventura, is, with the Obama administration, I think thinking outside the box in lots of ways. The transportation department just said that if you want federal money, you got to think bicycles as well as cars. There might be money available, for example, for a real shuttle between Ojai and Ventura that would get people who work at the government center every 20 minutes. You need 3 or 4 shuttles to get from downtown Ojai to the government center that run for more than 1 trip a day. So if you miss the bus, you don't do it. And we can't afford to do that unless we get federal subsidies, but the federal subsidies may be available now. Run those buses on Friday and Saturday nights so that the young folks, over 21 who go down to Ventura and bar hop can do so safely and get home, and people who want to come up and enjoy things in Ojai from Ventura can do that without having to drive up. If you know there's going to be a bus every 20 minutes from 7 p.m. until 1 in the morning, and you run and you publicize it over and over and over, and you get a commitment to run that for a year so that people hear it over and over and over, because if you hear that kind of thing once, you might not get on the bus. If you hear it over and over and over for a year, maybe you will try it, and you'll find it to be worth your while. In terms of housing, the people in Ojai who know a lot more than I do about alternate housing kinds of ways of building need to feel that if they come to City Hall, they will be treated with respect and listened to. Not necessarily we can do everything all at once, but at least let's make a start. Sousa would talk about bicycles when she was on the council 10 years ago and was ridiculed. Now everybody knows we got to figure out bikes. They have bike lanes in New York City, in Manhattan. They have bike lanes, and we have none in Ojai. We had bike racks for 5 years in storage? So yes, we do need to the key to thinking outside the box, for me, who's a lawyer and tends to narrow, the key is taking advantage of all the expertise and interesting folks who know lots of things about lots of ways that the dynamic is going to shift. Oh, the Green Coalition, Ojai Trees, and the Housing Task Force people on housing. Cale Starbird and Tom Bostrom and Neva Williams and Linda Harmon and I probably half the people in the room in one way or another. And that's what needs Sousa. That's what needs to be done. You need to you go to a council meeting, and it's been a little better since Joe is gone, and it really has. But you go to a council meeting, and it looks from outside, where I am, it looks like everybody's got the statement that they wrote before the meeting. Jerry makes his presentation on the issue. You get 3 minutes to speak, and very rare is there any feedback. You sit down, then they close the public hearing, and then the council members totally misstate what you just said, and you can't respond. You can't respond to what somebody else said, even if you have something that, there's got to be a better dialogue amongst the council members themselves and with the public. And part of it is Brown Act. I mean, the Brown Act stuff, I understand the reason for it, but how you can reach solutions to serious problems when you can't talk to the people with whom you need to reach the solutions with because of the Brown Act. You can't have a conversation with more than one person unless you agendize it and you notice it and let everybody in, and that's fine. But what that means is that at the council meetings, which is the only time you can try and reach the best solution, sometimes you got to take a little longer than you want to in terms of talking, not delaying everything forever, bringing it back, tabling it, but bringing it back the next meeting, not tabling it and forgetting it for 5 years, and having some way that the public can participate or at least encourage council members to ask. You said that before. Can you come back up and let's hear some more? And they're starting to do that a little bit since Betsy's been on the council, but it's frustrating as all get out. and an impossible way to decide things. When you can't talk to the people who you're trying to reach a resolution with, it's absurd. Okay.